Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be ranking the Black Ops 4 specialists from worst all the way to best. There were 10 specialists available during the Black Ops 4 beta, so I suppose you could look at this video as a top 10 of sorts, but before we get started, I would like to let you guys know that Gamescom 2018 is officially underway. It's the biggest gaming convention in the world, and Treyarch is at the event, letting people play Black Ops 4 and try out the brand new multiplayer map, which is called Arsenal. Based on what we've seen so far, Arsenal appears to be set in a robotics factory, and just watching this gameplay, it really gives me those Black Ops 2 vibes with its design and its aesthetic. If you guys would like to see more gameplay of the multiplayer map Arsenal, I'll put links down there in the description to a bunch of videos posted by various YouTubers who are actually at the event. But with that all out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to begin ranking the specialists that we found during the Black Ops 4 beta. Before we get started, I would like to really quickly say that I personally feel as though Treyarch did a pretty good job of balancing each one of these specialists, though obviously some of them are going to be better than others, but I don't feel as though any one specialist is really terrible or useless. But keeping that in mind, there are definitely some that are above and beyond better than the other ones in more situations, and that is going to be the focus of this video. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin ranking the Black Ops 4 specialists from worst all the way to best. So coming in here at number 10, we have Prophet. And I know to a lot of you that's going to seem shocking because of how annoying he can be to play against, but I feel as though in practice, Prophet is one of the hardest characters to play properly. For starters, let's take a look at his specialist ability, the Tempest Rifle. This is basically a bolt-action sniper that shocks the target, puts them down on the ground, and then slowly kills them over time. The big benefit is it can chain to other players, and no doubt you guys have seen tons of insane highlight clips of this taking out an entire team, but keep in mind, those are just highlights. More often than not, you spend the entire game trying to acquire your Tempest Rifle, and once you get it, you don't find the other team all packed up like you see in those highlights, but rather you see one target at a time, or you end up pulling out your sniper rifle and you get shot in the back, or you end up missing one of your shots, and all of that work is pretty much for nothing. In the right circumstance, the Tempest Rifle is incredibly powerful, and it can wipe out an entire team, but it really does require the perfect situation and near perfect aim to really be effective. If you think about it, the Tempest Rifle is basically just the Paladin Sniper Rifle, but on a super long cooldown, with the ability to, of course, chain kill if a bunch of people are standing together. Prophet's other piece of equipment is the Seeker Shock Mine, and in my opinion, this is a lot more effective in the vast majority of situations. You basically send out this little robot who will lead you to an enemy player, and it will stun them in place for several seconds, which allows you to pick up a pretty easy kill. I feel like this is the real reason why people should run Prophet. This mine can be incredibly annoying to play against, and it's great for pushing an objective or flushing people out of a tight area. The only downside to the Seeker Shock Mine is it can be countered, and it can sometimes be easily countered if the opposing player knows that it's coming. So obviously you can shoot it before it actually gets to you, and if it does hit you and you're prepared for it, you can negate the entire shock effect by passing a quick time event. As you guys can see from the gameplay, I was basically able to negate the entire thing because I beat the quick time event, and therefore the Seeker Shock Mine basically was just a COD 4 stun grenade but on a super long cooldown. So that's why I decided to drop Prophet down here to number 10. His abilities can be devastatingly powerful, but they require proper setup, and they're just a bit more niche than the rest of these specialists here in this game. He was already buffed going from Weekend 1 into Weekend 2 of the beta, and I'll not be surprised to see him buffed yet again between now and when the game comes out in October. So coming in here at number 9, we have by far one of the most popular specialists in the game. I know this pick is going to be controversial because lots of people really love Firebreak, but I feel as though he suffers from the same problems that Prophet does. Let's start by taking a look at his specialist ability, the Purifier. This is the iconic flamethrower that we all know and love from Black Ops 3, but it received a hefty nerf here in Black Ops 4, and honestly, I feel as though it's a shell of its former self. I know I've shown you guys this clip countless times here on the channel, but it's because I'm so darn proud of of it. This is how powerful the Purifier was back in Black Ops 3. It would demolish anybody that came in front of it. If you so much as touched an enemy player, they would die. But sadly, here in Black Ops 4, that is no longer the case. Because of the new health mechanics, the flamethrower seems to take ages to take out enemy players. In a one-on-one situation, sure, it's going to be really good. It's typically going to kill the opposing player faster than what they can kill you with their normal weapon. But if you happen to run into two players, you're basically going to die. Your flamethrower cannot take out both of them very quickly. The saving grace for the Purifier is its ability to deny enemy healing. Here in Black Ops 4, if you get touched by pretty much any of Firebreak's fire abilities, you can't heal for an absurd amount of time, which is really difficult to deal with. Using my editing software, I was able to track just how long you have to wait before you can heal, and it appears to be just under 20 seconds, which, as you guys know, is an eternity in Call of Duty time. But the situations in which you are able to safely apply that debuff with your Purifier to the opposing team are going to be very few and far between. Therefore, I don't feel as though it's a great specialist ability compared to the other ones that we find here in Black Ops 4. On the flip side of things, Firebreak's reactor core is insanely powerful. He places this device on the ground and it does massive AoE fire damage to enemies as well as himself, and the radius on this thing is actually insane. Here's a clip I recorded while playing Search and Destroy on Seaside. The enemy Firebreak started using his reactor core while on top of the 3-story building, and I'm all the way down here being hit by it. Because it hit me and put that debuff on me, I was unable to heal for nearly 20 seconds, and that eventually caused me to die. So, in my opinion, this is why people should run Firebreak. The Purifier can be good at times, don't get me wrong, just like everything in Call of Duty, they can be good in the right situation, but I feel as though the real power of Firebreak lies within his reactor core. It's insane for objective play, it can really mess up the opposing team, but because his main ability is so niche when compared to other specialist abilities, I had to drop Firebreak down here to number 9. So coming in here at number 8, we have a specialist who I must admit grew on me the more I played him during the beta. At first I thought Nomad was just really weak when compared to the other specialists in the game, but the more I played him, the more I realized he's actually pretty powerful. He can not only lock down areas defensively, but he can also go on the offense with the power of his attack dog. The K9 unit is his specialist ability, and it's a really powerful tool because it can not only protect Nomad, similar to the guard dog kill streak that we saw back in Call of Duty Ghosts, but it can also be sent out to hunt down enemy players, similar to the attack dog kill streak that we found in World at War, as was Black Ops 2. I feel as though what's going to separate a good Nomad from a bad Nomad is how they micromanage their dog. So if you just have your dog constantly protecting you, it's probably not going to be doing that much unless you're right up in the thick of things and you're constantly surrounded by enemies. But on the flip side of things, if you just send out your guard dog willy-nilly to go randomly hunt down enemy players, chances are it's just going to be shot and not be all that effective either. So it's really going to come down to your micromanagement, which I think is actually going to increase the skill gap between a good Nomad as well as a bad Nomad, which is something that I like to see here in the Call of Duty franchise. Nomad also has access to mesh mines, which are basically these little bouncing betties that can be connected to form a tripwire. At first, I thought the mesh mines were a little bit weak when compared to the other area denial tools here in Black Ops 4, but after getting a little bit better with them and trying out different locations, I found that they're actually really quite powerful. They are completely countered by the Engineer perk because players who have that perk on can see where the mines are and where the tripwires are, but when you place your mines properly, you force the other team to have to deal with them, regardless of the fact that they can actually see them through walls. If they're placed properly, they have to deal with them, right? They have to either stop and shoot them or go around them, which either lets you know where they're coming from or it allows you to go up there and kill them while they're dealing with your mines. So while I don't think the mesh mines are as strong as other pieces of specialist gear, they can be really annoying to play around, and when you combine that with the fact that his dog is also pretty good, Nomad is a solid all-around character, and that is why he comes in here at number 8. So coming in here at number 7, we have the Riot Shield man himself, and I feel as though of all the specialists that we saw during the beta, Ajax was by far the most slept on. He may not have as much flash as the other specialists, but he can really disrupt the enemy team regardless of the game mode and regardless of the map. First up, let's take a look at his specialist ability, the Ballistic Shield. This is by far the most powerful Riot Shield we have ever seen in the Call of Duty franchise, because not only does it protect Ajax and everybody behind him from enemy bullets, but Ajax also can fortify the shield, which allows him to pull out a machine pistol and fire that machine pistol at enemies while behind perfect cover. Now obviously this is going to require some good positioning, but when used used properly, there's basically no counter to this whatsoever. If you save your ballistic shield for when you're about to walk into a building, or when you're about to walk into a choke point or onto an objective, you are always going to be powerful 100% of the time, and you are going to be really annoying for the other team to deal with. Ajax also has access to the 9-bang, which is insanely powerful as well. It basically performs like the world's best flashbang. If you throw that thing in there and it hits the opposing team whatsoever, they're going to die 99% of the time. As somebody who plays a lot of Control and a lot of Search and Destroy, this piece of equipment is insanely good for taking objectives. You basically just toss it into a contested area, it likely hits everybody in there, and they're pretty much defenseless for you and your team as you push in. So it blew my mind, honestly, that Ajax went so underused during the beta. I have a feeling when the game comes out in October, people are going to really realize how good Ajax is, and he's going to become one of the best specialists in the game. But as of right now, I put him here at number 7, not because he's really bad or anything, but because there are so many other good specialists here in Black Ops 4, and Ajax is sort of niche in certain situations because he's limited to his shield, whereas other specialists can use their primary weapon. So Ajax, very, very good, and for all these reasons, that's why I put him here at number 7. So next up here on the list, we have Ruin, who of course is the Black Ops 4 cover boy, and hands down, the most popular specialist based on what I saw during the beta. It seemed like pretty much every single team had a Ruin no matter what, and I think that's because he appeals to the solo playstyle. In my opinion, Ruin is the ultimate lone wolf character here in Black Ops 4. He doesn't really synergize all that well with other specialists, he just kind of does his thing, and he's really good at what he does. His specialist ability, of course, is the Gravity Slam, which is pretty much unchanged from what we saw during Black Ops 3, but the big difference here is the specialist gear that he has here in Black Ops 4. That piece of gear is, of course, the grapple gun, which gives him something that no other specialist has, which is advanced movement. Ruin has the ability to get places faster than other specialists. He's able to scale 3-story buildings like they are nothing. He is pretty much the perfect specialist for people who want to relentlessly rush down the enemy team, which is why I think he was so popular during the beta. Now, the obvious synergy between his abilities is you can use his grapple gun to fly into an objective and then use your gravity slam on the opposing team. This is obviously going to be very good. It clears out entire rooms. It can definitely take out entire objectives, but still, I feel as though the real power of Ruin lies with his grappling gun. When used properly, good players are going to be able to consistently put pressure on the opposing team and flank from areas that the other team didn't even think was really possible. So overall, Ruin is a super powerful specialist whose playstyle appeals to a lot of players, and that's why he came in here at number 6. So coming in here at number 5, we have Seraph, who is definitely one of the most unique specialists in the game. I know to some of you it sounds like I'm being sarcastic because she's the same specialist we saw back in Black Ops 3, and she even brought her trademark Annihilator with her, but I'm being completely serious. She really is a unique specialist because she can do something that we've never seen in the Call of Duty franchise before, which is set up a spawn beacon for her entire team. When used properly, Seraph's tactical play can single-handedly win you the game. Making it so your entire team spawns right on top of an objective is insanely powerful, so much so that Treyarch is actually looking to nerf it going into the full launch in October, but either way, it's still going to be good. So long as you have the ability to choose where your team spawns, Seraph is always going to be a top tier character, regardless of how the meta evolves over time. One of the reasons why I like specialists so much here in Black Ops 4 as compared to Black Ops 3 was back in Black Ops 3, it felt like these specialists were basically just free kill streaks that you got for playing the game. No matter what, over time, you were going to get your specialist ability, and oftentimes they weren't used strategically outside of Search and Destroy. They were basically just used as these free kill streaks that you would get just for simply playing the game. Well, here in Black Ops 4, things are a bit different. There is going to be a world of difference between a good Seraph and a bad Seraph, and that's why I ranked her here at number 5. She can really change the flow of an entire game by choosing where her team spawns, and she also has access to a pretty good specialist ability as well in the form of the Annihilator. So, in my opinion, the Annihilator is a solid all-around ability. It basically gives you this super powerful revolver that one-shots everything from the chest up. If you miss your shots, you're screwed, but it can clear entire rooms, and in my opinion, it's still much easier to use than other aimed abilities like Prophet's Tempest Rifle. So overall, Seraph is a super strong specialist, and that's why she comes in here at number 5. So coming in here at number 4, we have Battery, who, like Seraph, is making her return from Black Ops 3, but this time around, she is much more powerful than she was previously. Battery is a character who can absolutely destroy the enemy team, and do it in the most annoying way possible. Her specialist ability is the War Machine, which is basically a super fast-firing, high-damage grenade launcher that can clear an entire area out in seconds. While this is great for taking out enemy players, it's also really good at destroying enemy equipment and enemy score streaks, so she effectively works as a counter to different specialists that are in the game. It's basically like having Modern Warfare 2 noob tubes, but you get 6 of them and you can fire them all super quickly, so obviously that's a pretty powerful ability. Her specialist gear is the Cluster Grenade, which is basically like a sticky grenade that you throw, except when it blows up, it breaks up into these smaller grenades that also explode, which is really good for dealing area damage. So overall, Battery is the queen of AoE. She can do pretty much everything from clear entire rooms and objectives to destroy enemy equipment and enemy score streaks, and for all these reasons, she comes in here at number 4. I don't feel as though I should spend too much time talking about her because she's just really good all around. I will mention, I don't feel as though the skill gap between a good Battery and a bad Battery is going to be all that noticeable, but overall, she's really freaking powerful any way you look at it, so that's why Battery came in here at number 4. She's one of my favorite specialists to play in Black Ops 4, and I'm excited to see how she's going to develop when the game comes out in October. So coming in here at number 3, we have the Healer Specialist of Black Ops 4, and because he's the only specialist in the game that can heal his allies, he is incredibly strong and he's a valued member of any team composition on any map and in any game mode. Crash's specialist ability is the TAC 5, which after a short delay will instantly heal the entire team to maximum health and give them a 50-point damage shield. This is akin to being able to instantly give your entire team Ballistic Vests from Modern Warfare 3 while also healing them all up in the process. So that's obviously insanely powerful, and the TAC 5 can be used offensively as well as defensively. Like, the versatility that we find here with Crash is insane, especially when compared to other specialists. So you can use your TAC 5 to boost up your entire team before heading into an objective, or you can use them to heal your allies in a pinch, though it's worth mentioning there is that slight delay, so healing your allies while they're being shot at can be kind of hard to do in certain situations. As if the TAC 5 was not strong enough, Crash's piece of equipment is the Assault Pack, which went wildly underused during the beta, though I think that's going to resolve itself when the game comes out in October. So when you use the Assault Pack, you throw it down to the ground, and anybody who uses it will instantly get maximum ammo, as well as basically have special bullets that give them bonus score every time they kill an enemy player. The bonus score is only 25 points per kill, but those points definitely add up over time, which will make it much easier for you to get your score streaks. A good Crash player will be able to heal his team and shield them at the same time, while also giving them special ammo to get their score streaks faster, so you can see why I chose him to be here at number 3. He is insanely good. The only downside to Crash, I will say, is I feel as though the skill gap is going to be much bigger on this character as compared to other specialists, and I feel as though he's really dependent on how well his team uses him, right? If teammates lose their gunfights, even though they have that 50-point shield, then they basically wasted Crash's ability. If teammates don't take the time to actually stop and grab his special ammo, then his equipment is barely even useful. So Crash has to work well with his team, and his team has to work well with him for him to reach his maximum potential. But overall, I feel as though Crash is still the ultimate support specialist here in Black Ops 4, and that's why he comes in here at number 3. So coming in here at number 2, we have a specialist who I feel as though the vast majority of the community overlooked during the Black Ops 4 beta. Some of you may think I'm crazy for ranking Torque so highly, especially over other specialists like Crash, Seraph, and Ruin, but believe me when I say that Torque is one of the best specialists here in Black Ops 4. He's so good that I think I could make a solid argument for him being the best specialist in the game, but we'll talk about that when we get to the number 1 spot. So why is Torque so good, you may be asking? Well, let's start with his specialist ability, the Barricade. The Barricade is a huge piece of cover that Torque can throw down to protect himself and his teammates from enemy bullets. If that's all that it did, I would honestly think that the Barricade is a super weak ability, but the Barricade doesn't stop there. It also works like the Guardian score streak that we saw back in Black Ops 2, which means it radiates the area in front of it, slowing down enemy players, dealing damage to them, and eventually killing them. Because of this, Torque Torque players are able to use the barricade to completely and utterly deny an entire area to the enemy team. If it's placed in the right spot, which means the enemy team can't just shoot and destroy it from a distance, then there's really nothing they can do to counter the barricade except for maybe having a battery go in there with a war machine and just blow it up. This is why you've seen so much Torque gameplay from me here on the channel. It's because you can really carry an entire team while playing as Torque, because in a lot of situations, his barricade can act as an extra teammate by shutting down an entire part of the map. Now keep in mind, that is only Torque's specialist ability. He also has his specialist gear, which of course is the Razor Wire. This can also be used to deny enemy players from entering a certain area, and obviously it's not as powerful as the barricade, but I like to look at it as a more effective version of the mesh mines that Nomad has. You place down your Razor Wire, and there's very little the enemy team can actually do about it. The Razor Wire, for some reason, has a ton of health, which means that most of the time players are going to stand there trying to shoot your Razor Wire, which makes them an easy targets for you just to go up there and of course take them out. And if they try to run through the wire itself, more often than not that's going to kill them because you move super slow trying to get through enemy wires. So you can have two pieces of Razor Wire down at one time and also have your barricade up, and because of this, Torque is the ultimate area denial specialist. A good Torque is so annoying to play against because it's like the enemy team has more players. He can single-handedly shut down so many entrances and so many flanking routes, and because of that, he is my favorite specialist to play in Black Ops 4. I keep talking about how there are going to be these big skill gaps between good players and bad players when it comes to these specialists, and I think Torque is a great example of that. I saw so many bad Torques during the beta, people who would use the barricade as a head glitch instead of a microwave, or people who just throw down the Razor Wire in random places not near the objective. A good Torque player can really take over a game, even if his teammates aren't the greatest. Now obviously he's not a miracle worker. It's not as if there's no way to play around a good Torque, but the tools that he has available are insanely powerful in a lot of different situations, and that's why he's my personal favorite specialist. That's also why he comes in here at number 2. So coming in here at number 1, we have what I believe to be the most powerful specialist in the entire game. I don't think Recon coming in at number 1 was much of a surprise to a lot of you, because he is obviously really good in the vast majority of situations. In fact, I would say he's good in pretty much every situation in Black Ops 4. If there's one specialist in this game that can be considered first pick, first ban material, I would say it would be Recon. Teams can get by, in my opinion, without a crash, right? They can win games without having a Torque. They can win games without having a Seraph, but if your team does not have a Recon and the other team does, you are at such a disadvantage, it is insane. So Recon's specialist ability is Vision Pulse, which scans the entire map and lets your teammates know where the other team is. I don't think I need to spend too much time explaining how powerful this is. The best part is it also pulses multiple times, so you really get a good idea of where the enemy team is located and exactly what they're doing. Recon's gear is the Sensor Dart, which is just as good, if not better, than the Vision Pulse. The Sensor Dart can be shot anywhere on the map, and when it lands, it basically works like a huge motion sensor that completely reveals enemy players within the area to your entire team. The dart can be spotted by the Engineer perk, and it can be shot and destroyed, but if you place it in a good spot, there's little to nothing the enemy team can do to counter it. This clip here is a great example of just how powerful the Sensor Dart can be. My brother and I are playing Search and Destroy, and it's 2v1, and the opposing player just planted the bomb. We have no idea where he is, but my brother is playing Recon, so he shoots his Sensor Dart on top of the roof, and that reveals the enemy player. How is he supposed to counter that in any way? There is no counter. There's nothing he could have done there. It's worth mentioning that the Ghost perk does reduce the amount of time you show up on the Sensor Dart, but by that point, the damage is already done. This is why Recon is so powerful. He can reveal the entire enemy team, and he gives so much valuable intel to his team. Now, the obvious downside to this is your team has to capitalize on all of this information. If we can use Black Ops 2 as an example, it does not matter how many VSATs I put up in the sky if my team can't win their gunfights, but assuming your team is semi-competent, a good Recon is always going to be a valuable asset, if for nothing else than yourself. Like, you yourself having Vision Pulse and having access to the Sensor Dart is going to be very beneficial. Like I mentioned earlier, I considered putting Torque at the #1 spot here in this video because of how game-changing he is, even without without the help of teammates, but Recon's abilities are just too good not to put here at number 1. If I had to make a guess, if I'm going to make a prediction here, my prediction is Recon is going to be the most powerful and most used specialist in Black Ops 4 when the game officially comes out this October. I think every team is going to need one in both public as well as competitive play, and like with most specialists in the game, there's going to be a big difference between a good Recon and a bad Recon. That's why I'm so excited to play Black Ops 4 this year. Everyone is going to have the specialists that they like the best, whether it's because of their appearance or their voice lines or their abilities or what have you, and everybody's going to try to get as good at those specialists as they possibly can. I know for me personally, I'm going to try to be the best Torque I can possibly be when the game comes out. My brother really likes to play Battery and Recon, so he's going to try to get good with those characters. A buddy of mine really likes to play Ruin, and I think that's one of the things that's going to separate Black Ops 4 from the other Call of Duty games. People are going to fall in love and identify with these specialists, and that's going to be a big selling factor, I think. And I know everybody likes to talk about this, it's been discussed to death, but it really is a lot like Rainbow Six and Overwatch. In those games, people have their favorite operators, they have their favorite heroes, they identify with those heroes, and that really adds a lot of replay value to the game because they want to master that particular operator or that particular hero. Well, here in Black Ops 4, we are going to have the same thing, right? People are going to pick their favorite specialists, we're all going to have a handful of them, right? And we're going to try to master those specialists and get as good at them as we possibly can, while at the same time, we're still going to have the traditional Call of Duty customization of having our favorite guns and our favorite attachments and perks and score streaks and stuff like that. So it's going to be a very interesting year for the Call of Duty franchise. I've actually gotten a lot of questions asking why I like specialists so much here in Black Ops 4 as compared to Black Ops 3, and I think the answer to that is actually twofold. Number one, like I mentioned, back in Black Ops 3, at least in my opinion, specialists weren't really used for anything other than just giving people a free kill streak to use. Like, people didn't run Ruin because they wanted to use that gravity slam to take out an objective. They used it because they wanted to try and get a quad kill with it or something like that, right? The same is true for pretty much every other ability. The second reason why I like specialists so much more here in 4 as compared to 3 is because I think I'm finally ready for some change here in the Call of Duty franchise. You guys know I'm a bit of an old school guy when it comes to Call of Duty. I've played the series for over a decade now, but over the course of the past couple of years, I have only played Modern Warfare Remastered and Call of Duty World War II. As a result of that, I'm kind of ready for something a little bit different. I've spent all this time playing old school classic boots on the ground COD, and I'm ready for something a little bit different. Now, when Black Ops 4 first came out, when we first got the beta, I hated the game because it was way too different, but I stuck with it. I kept trying to play the game, I kept learning the game, and eventually I started to like it a lot more. The thing about first impressions of competitive online games like Call of Duty is oftentimes people will say whether or not a game is good or bad based on how well they did immediately, right? A lot of people said Black Ops 4 was like the worst game ever when it first came out. Like, for day one of the beta, everybody seemed to hate it for one reason or another, but by the end of the weekend, everybody seemed to enjoy it because they kept at it, they kept learning the game, eventually they started doing better, and when you're doing better, you tend to enjoy the game itself, right? That's definitely true of me, that's definitely true of what happened to me while playing this game, but also at the same time, I like the complexity and the depth of the Black Ops 4 multiplayer as compared to other classic boots on the ground games like Modern Warfare Remastered and Call of Duty World War II. There's a lot under the hood here with Black Ops 4, and that's something I'm actually looking forward to, right? After playing so much classic COD for these past couple of years, I'm ready for something a little bit different, but I know a lot of fans aren't ready for something different, and that's why the community is so divided right now, right? People want the game to feel like it did back in the day, but at the same time, some people want it to go forward. There's so many different people that want different things of the Call of Duty franchise, which is to be expected. The series is like 15 years old at this point, and not everything they do as developers is going to land for every single fan out there. If you don't like Black Ops 4, that is perfectly fine. Like, there's a lot about this game that feels a lot different, and I can definitely see why people don't like it, but for me personally, I do like the game so far based on what we've seen during the beta. Of course, things could change. The game could be drastically different in October. They could actually go through with the Black Ops Pass. They could throw weapons back in supply drops, and we're going to cross all those bridges when we get to it, but right now, from a gameplay perspective, based on what we saw during the beta, I personally like the Black Ops 4 experience, and that's why I wanted to make this video. I like the specialists so much that I played with them each extensively in all sorts of different game modes, and I wanted to rank them. I wanted to talk about them, talk about the pros and cons, and see what you guys think down there in the comment section below. But it's gotta be said, there are lots of people that dislike Black Ops 4, and that is perfectly okay. I wish more people would be more positive within the community, because it seems like at times, it's almost like you're not allowed to say anything positive anymore. Drifter actually did a really cool video about this the other day. I'll put a link to it down there in the description, and a big focus of that video was how in the Call of Duty community, there there is this section that just seems to hate the game. They hate everything about the Call of Duty experience, but at the same time, they are the biggest fans that the Call of Duty franchise has. Like, they buy the game every single year. They buy all the DLC, at least probably. They play the game a ton every single day. They watch Call of Duty YouTubers. They watch Call of Duty live streamers. They are active on the Call of Duty subreddits. They're pretty much everywhere, but at the same time, they claim that they hate the series, which seems like a really miserable existence to live. But to be honest, that section of the community, a lot of them are trolling, but also the people who are super serious about everything, they've been around forever, right? They've been around since I've been part of this community, which started way back in Call of Duty 4. They've always been there in one way or another, but it seems like more people are being vocal about the things they dislike about the franchise as the years go on, and I think part of that is due to the shady business practices that Activision's been implementing, things like weapons and supply drops, and things like the Black Ops Pass. These are all things that are going to make fans upset, and I think that's another reason why people are disliking Black Ops 4 as much as they are. But again, we're going to have to wait for the Blackout beta. We're going to have to wait for the game to come out in October to really see what people think. But as of right now, so far, based on what I played during the beta, I'm having a lot of fun with the game's multiplayer itself. I'm excited to see where things are going to go. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you guys here today. This video, I feel as though it's gone on long enough. I have spent the past, I want to say 3 or 4 days putting this together, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I had to go through 2 weekends worth of footage to find every single exact clip for this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm not one to really ask for likes, but if you did enjoy this video, please leave it a like rating, and let me know down there in the comment section below, what do you think of Black Ops 4 so far, because I know everyone's opinion on the game seems to change on a daily basis. So let me know what you guys think of the game so far. Where are you currently with the Black Ops 4 multiplayer, and who do you think are the best specialists in the game? If you want to rank all 10 of them, feel free to do that, or if you just want to tell me your personal favorite or rank your top 3, please feel free, put your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.